So, please.
Yes.
You had a dream?
I had a dream. We are here investigating, and this is after the investigation. And there's a group of people standing in a single room, and we're just talking, not investigating, just talking. And for some reason, I am fiddling with the camera with the night vision. And as I am panning, I notice that one person with their arms straight down, in their left hand, there is a little girl holding that person's hand. And as I zoom in on it to see the little girl holding this woman's hand, the woman pulls her hands up to cross her arms, and when she does that, her hand goes through the little girl's hand. And as that happens, the girl disappears. And I've been thinking about that for like the last week.
Okay, we're good. Okay, so I am doing my own preliminary walkthrough right now. We are at a private residence in Harrison Township, Michigan today. Kind of walking around the home and seeing if there's any energy in particular to pick up on, or if I get anything kind of on my own during this first walk through here.
My name is Grace. I'm 18. I don't really remember, like, my first experience.
Grace was 6 years old when we moved into this house, and shortly thereafter, we moved in June, and she started school, of course, in September. And about that time frame, she would be calling me at nighttime.
When I was younger, like on school nights and stuff, I would be screaming for my mom, telling her to tell the kids to leave me alone because I want to go to sleep.
One night she was calling me, crying, "Mama, mama." So I ran upstairs, and she was sitting in her bed, and she said, "The little children want me to play, and I don't want to play, I'm afraid." So I says, "What little children, Grace?" And she was pointing, like, in her room, and she says, all those little children. And so I was like, okay. She never told me what they looked like. I didn't know if they were boys or girls. She just would always refer to them as the little kids, the children. This would go on almost nightly for months. And then it got to the point where she wasn't so scared anymore. She was just getting annoyed, and she was tired. I could tell, like the next day, just sleeping and yawning, all day long, and she had to go to school.
She yelled at them one time and they never came back, so at least from what I have experienced.
I had enough one night, and I went upstairs and I said, "Little children, Grace is a little child herself and needs her sleep. You need to leave her alone. She has to go to school." After that, she wasn't calling me anymore, and that was a good year or so. And then it started up again, and she'd say that they're standing out in the hallway and they won't come in. They're asking if they can come in and play. I have to turn around and tell them, "No, I'm sorry, it's the middle of the night, you can't play. Grace has to get her sleep." And they wouldn't come in her room after that point. They would just hang out by her door. Yes, they had early release Wednesdays, every Wednesday, and my mother, their grandma, would come pick them up and bring them home till I got home from work. And one day, she came home and was taking some laundry upstairs to Grace's room, and across her dresser were all of those little stuffed animal Webkin dolls that she used to collect when she was little. They were all lined up like a little train across her dresser, like back to back to back. My mom had said to her, "Grace, that's so cute. You know what you did with your stuffed animals?" And Grace was like, "I didn't do that." And then she asked my two sons, and we don't go in Grace's room. We didn't do that. And I was the last one in her room before we left that morning for work when I made her bed, and those stuffed animals weren't like that. Somebody was playing with her stuffed animals while she was at school. The first thing that I noticed before any of this went on with the calling her at night At the time, she had blinds, and our windows were sweating a little bit. It was just kind of the change of, seasons where the windows would get, wet and condensation. I pulled up her blinds to wipe up all of that condensation, and there was a little child's handprint and a smiley face at the top of her window where she could never reach, and the blinds had been closed, so she would have had to put her hand in and up and all the way up to get that perfect handprint and that smiley face in the window. Yeah.
That's crazy. So when you are being touched, where are you being touched?
Normally it's like on my side because I sleep on my stomach.
Does it feel like a person?
Yeah, because I would wake up thinking it's like my mom waking me up for school. Then I wake up and everything is still black and it's like 3 in the morning.
Initial thoughts. It's things coming in and out.
Okay.
I don't think it's anything permanent.
Okay.
I guess maybe too at this moment I'm kind of hung up on like why. Because I don't know that it has anything to do, it's not anything to do with this house. So there's either something in the house or something to do with the area around the house. And in which case it would be just kind of coming in and out. So why coming in and out? Because somebody's, that's why I asked if it was like around one person or if it was like because of one person, everybody. There's something outside. See Indians here? Everybody see Indians? Native Americans? It's a proper term, I suppose. I mean, that always feels like such a, not a cop-out, that's not the word, but it's always like, oh, well, it's always that. But it makes sense, so I'm kind of curious to hear. Oh, well, here you go. Right there. Well, that answers my question. So that's, not necessarily that that's why, but if there's an interest, and I'll go out there and tell them this in a minute too, but if there's an interest or if there's attempts, that's why people come in and out. So you've got something outside. I don't know what's outside. Not outside necessarily in this backyard even. It would be something that's like this whole subdivision. Because like when we pulled up, I'm like seeing like it's just woods. Like this is all just supposed to be woods. Obviously, whatever. No, it's not. But this is all just supposed to be wood. How close is the river? I know I looked at a map. So I know it's very close. So that could be part of it too. So you've got that. So that's one thing. So that's kind of creating the perfect, like right around it. Okay, so that makes sense. Water always helps.
Yeah.
Moving water always helps, particularly. My next thing was either going to be, okay, there's either something that's drawing or something that's got some kind of a, I don't really feel like it, and I looked around and I can't really see anything that like an antique or something like that, or somebody's stuff. So, did somebody have like a sleepover where they did this like a couple of years ago? All right, so we can go talk to them now.
My name is David. I'm 21 years old. It's mostly sound with me. I have had some things happen like at the end of the street, like by the woods, probably a couple months ago. It was like daytime. I was just down there. I have like some RC cars. So I was just, driving around on I was bored. It's swampy back there, so like, and I know like what, like kind of like what swamp smells like. It didn't like smell like right to me. Like, it smelled like kind of rotting in a way. And I just had a sense that maybe something, that's kind of being maybe watched a little bit. I did hear some like rustling, but I kind of just explained that away as maybe just like a squirrel or like just a little tiny animal. It's like sectioned off for like house lots, so it's all flat grass. But when we first moved in, it was really, really tall grass. There was like a kind of like an urban legend that there used to be like a mound of bricks, and like there was like somebody like buried under the bricks, and one of the older kids like started it. That's the only kind of notable story. I mean, I used to do like a lot of hiking with my, dad and brother, and I guess just being in the woods in general, just had, just the sense of being in the woods, just kind of unsettling, but that stuck with me though, just because the smell didn't really like fit, with what I remember, the swamp or just the woods smelling like. I guess I did kind of maybe, I don't know if like this, like just like a thought I just like, made up in my head, but I might have like seen something, just like a lady, or there is something something telling me that I did see something, but I don't know if it's like my imagination or reality. I was kind of just curious about it at one time. I just kind of did a little bit of research on my own, but I didn't really take it past that.
30 miles miles northeast of Detroit is Harrison Township. Formed in 1827 and located at the mouth of the Clinton, formerly Huron River, the town's history begins with the Chippewa hunting grounds and village that once stood on the land that is now Selfridge Air Base. Our research led us to a map disclosing the locations of several Native American archaeological sites, perhaps giving the neighborhood legend some credence. One such site, as indicated by the black dot on the map, was found in the immediate vicinity. The mounds discovered were complex, multi-compartment fortresses for the dead, cemeteries containing human remains, jewelry, tools, food, and symbols of their associated clan. An earthwork or ceremonial site was discovered nearby, along with 26 mounds and 8 other circular ceremonial sites in Macomb County alone. If you've ever wondered where Mound Road got its name, it references the Prairie Mound, which once stood northeast of Mound and 7 Mile Roads. Proximity to the river made the land, which is now home to a subdivision and South River Elementary School, a destination for trade between Native Americans and Harrison Township's first residents. The natives would set up temporary camps nearby as they came to trade their goods, exciting the children of the one-room schoolhouse built on the land in 1874.
Over the people, I noticed that one person with their arms straight down on their sides, in their left hand, there is a little girl holding that person's hand. And as I zoom in on it to see the little girl holding this woman's hand, the woman pulls her hands up to cross her arms, and when she does that, her hand goes through the little girl's hand. And as that happens, the little girl disappears. And I've been thinking about that for like the last week. Because it was like theatrical in my dream, you know, as all my dreams are, but it was just so weird to dream about something like that. That is a strange dream for me.
And when he described the little girl, he was able to go into pretty good detail in regards to her. So this is where
she is 100% like Eastern European, like Ukrainian, Polish looking little girl. Like you know, like if you saw a little girl and you'd be like, you're not American. Like I know you're like 100% like Ukrainian or Polish or something. You know, definitely had that look about her.
So then we went ahead and did some research on this land, and he was able to pull up the property maps from 1876. Okay, and the gentleman who owned this land,
German immigrants.
was
really?
German immigrants, and he had 8 kids.
He had like
I know.
5 kids
Yeah.
and like 20 grandkids or something.
He had a lot of kids, so he ended up selling part of his land to start the school at the end of the street.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. And one of the children died at the age of 13, and he drowned. A boy. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when he was searching all of this, he was able to find, like photo from when the school first opened.
No way.
And there were a whole bunch of kids and some children that looked very similar to the child that he saw in this
Oh
photo.
my god. Okay, that's crazy. So, I told you last night I had a dream about a little girl too, like walking around my bed.
I have a very curious question about you.
Mhm.
In regards to this. Did this little girl have a very specific facial feature?
I don't really remember seeing her face. I saw her clothes, and that was it. And it was like a blue dress.
I didn't see any clothes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think, and another thing that we saw too was, during research, like once that school opened, the kids would often skip class to go hang out with Native Americans that were close by. So that's where that's
Interesting.
coming from, because there were natives that still had, camps in this area
Mm-hmm.
at the time that school first opened.
Interesting.
Now the school that's at the end of the street now, obviously the old school had been torn down and
Yeah,
the new
yeah,
school
yeah.
has been erected on the same land.
Is it
It's
really?
the same spot. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he was able to find all sorts of images and everything.
That's awesome.
So I think that's where the kids are coming in, because
That's
the
crazy.
guy who owned this land
Yeah.
loved children.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if the gentleman that you've been kind of bumping into along the way,
You're
is that the guy who
right.
owned this property?
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Do you have a picture of him?
We do have a photograph from the school, and there's a gentleman in that photograph. I told you, I was like, there's some wild
That's
stuff
really
going on
interesting.
with this. There's some wild stuff going on.
So like this, like subdivision land,
Yeah,
or like this
the
okay,
subdivision
interesting.
land was a huge plot.
So when he sold this part of land in 1874, look at all of the kids.
Oh my god. Does he have a beard? I can't tell.
It kind of looks
The
like
guy
he's
that-
like kind of skinny and he's wearing clothes that are a little too big. I can't tell if he has a beard, but like he has very thick hair. I think that's probably his most noticeable feature. He's probably a really thin guy with some really thick hair.
I mean, he looks about right. So like the guy that I saw was like, he had this hat on. But sometimes when there's like hats like that, it's more of a signifying like, hey, I did this.
Yeah.
Or I did that. And he had like, it was a strange beard. And he was blonde for sure. Like for sure blonde. Or like that kind of sandy-ish color. And he had just hair that kind of like hung out here and then just this kind of scruff. It wasn't like a beard. It was just like, but it wasn't even as like full as yours. It was just kind of this fuzz. I saw him, it was like he was like looking over me while I was like laying, like if I had been awake, my eyes would be open like this, and he came in my face and he just smiled, and then he shoved his hand in my face like this and he was gone. And that was it. But I have been waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. The last 2 nights it didn't happen. For like 4 or 5 days before that was snapping in my ear to wake me up at 3 o'clock. Like exactly 3 o'clock. And there was one day it happened at like 2:30. Specifically at 2:30. The rest of the times it was at 3 o'clock. So that's interesting because they're saying that
Yeah.
that's a key, like a
Time.
relevant detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. What I kind of want to do is like set up a camera in your room because I think there's something to the whole closet situation too. Just because I can relate to that so intensely that like makes sense to me. I'm like, okay, there's something going on there. I don't know what it is about closets. It's just, I think it's like a place to hide. I don't know. But so I had this, like when I went up in your room, this like sensation of like a kid running at me out of the closet. And last night I had a dream about 2 kids. I don't remember if I told Jessica or not. I think they were running at me out of a closet, and it was a little girl and a little boy, and the little girl was like the predominant one. So that's interesting that there's this kid situation. So I'm curious about that. I don't know if they might still be attached to you, if they're poking you, or if that's somebody else, or we'll see. So we'll see if maybe we can figure something out.
Sounds good.